forgive them. Like, that's wild to me. But I also understand that, like I stated earlier, God forgives me for so many wild things that I've done. So if he can forgive me, why shouldn't I forgive those that have hurt me? And once I started forgiving people that were not even sorry for the things that they did, that was another weight lifted up off my shoulder. Because I was telling my assistant the other day, I was like, you ever just felt like everything is so heavy? Like, I was telling her how I pack all these things with me every day before I leave out the house. Like, I pack unforgiveness and carry that. I pack anxiousness some days. I pack worry some days. I pack an attitude. Maybe I don't have a great attitude that morning. Maybe I ain't get enough rest. I don't know. I pack gentleness sometimes, kindness. But it's like a lot of things that I take with me every day out this house. And it feels like I'm a bag lady. Like, it's just like I'm carrying all these things. Sometimes when I get to work, I leave certain things in the car because I know how to handle, I know I got to handle my clients a certain way. So I can't come in there with an attitude. I got to come in there nice and gentle. So I'll leave some of that stuff in the car, like the anger or the bitterness or the unforgiveness or rage. I'll leave that in the car. I don't necessarily take it in the building with me. But when I get back in the car some days, it's in there waiting on me. And she was like, wow, that's deep. So I said all that to say, when you start forgiving people, when you start to be nice to people, when you start to love people that don't love you, when you start to forgive people that are not even sorry, that's a whole nother level of Christianity. That's a whole nother level of, God, I want to please you. That's a whole nother level of, God, use me. That's a whole nother level of, God, I trust you. That's a whole nother level of faith in God that you show him every day. And if I could unpack it for a moment, then I could unpack it for good. And so that's what my new thing will be this year is, and I'm glad he's dealing with me at the top of the year for this stuff, because I don't want to go the rest of my life like this. Like, I really do want people to look at me and say, wow, she's changed. Or wow, she really does love God as much as she says she does. Or wow, she really, really, really is showing kindness and mercy and grace to people. And so that is what this episode is about. I was also led to read Genesis 50, 15 through 21, because I had been doing a study on forgiveness. And when I read that, it was about the story of Joseph. And I don't know if you all know about that story, but you should go read it when you have some time. I'm going to definitely put it in the show notes. But, Joseph had a hard life. His brothers, they did him dirty. They just dumped him off and sold him off and just left him. But the reality of it is that they thought they was doing something for themselves, but really they was doing him a favor, because God gave him the favor. Literally, God gave him the favor over his life. No matter where he ended up, in a jail or in a ditch or in somebody's house, working as a slave or whatever he had to do, God showed him big favor. Like, he had the biggest, mightiest favor of them all. And he ended up having to take care of his brothers and his father at the end of his father's life. And so everything that is meant for evil can still end up being good. So I just said that to say, don't worry about it. If a person treating you a certain kind of way, you cannot control people, and you cannot control how they're going to react to you or what they're going to do to you. All you can do is do what God is asking you to do. And that is to love unconditionally. That is to love your neighbor. That is to love God with all of your heart, mind, and soul. And that is to be forgiving. You don't want God to hold up your blessings for 2022. So if there's anything that you can do about it so that you can get everything released to you, everything that you want in life, everything that you're asking God for, everything that you're praying to God for, if you want it to be released to you, you're going to have to do some work. And it ain't always easy. It's not always easy. It is pretty difficult. But if you have God on your side, it becomes easy. Because I never thought that I would be this way. I have literally been my whole life walking around here treating people the way they treat me. And that is not the way that God wants it to be. I'm grateful and honored that he cares about everything about me, that he's working on me so much that he doesn't want me to take certain things with me into the next season. And I'm grateful because I always ask him to change me and I always ask him to use me. So I pray that this blessed you. If you love this podcast, could you please do me one huge favor and leave me a review on the Apple app? Please leave me a review so that people can see what this podcast is about. I haven't had a review since 2020, which means I didn't get any reviews in 2021. So if you guys could be so kind to help me out, that would be awesome. I just want people to know what the show means to them. I get a lot of DM messages, but I don't hardly get anybody to leave one on the Apple Podcast. So if you could do that for me, I would greatly appreciate it. I appreciate everybody. I love you all, and I'm constantly praying for you. I love you, and until next time, I'll talk to y'all soon.